Hey, BecomingMe.TV, Emily Cummins here. We're in a series right now called From a Guy's Perspective. We've been taking questions and topics and literally hearing from a guy's perspective. Now, have you ever wondered, when does a guy feel most respected or valued? Have you ever wondered that? Well, grab your coffee because today my friend Sean Forte is going to unpack from his perspective how and when he feels most respected and how we can most respect each other.
Hey everybody, it's so good to be with you today. A huge thank you to Emily for inviting me to be part of this conversation. And she's asked me to speak on the topic of, as a man, I feel most valued and respected when. And so we're going to dig into this in just a second, but just a little bit about myself. I'm married to the love of my life. Her name is Jessica. We just celebrated 17 years of marriage this past August and just having a blast. We've got two great kids. Their ages are 12 and 14, and both Jessica and I are honored and privileged to serve on staff at Meadowbrook Church right here in Ocala. So that's just a little bit about myself, but let's jump back to this idea and this topic of, as a man, I feel most valued and respected when. And I love this topic because I think it relates both to men and women. I think we all have a desire on the inside of us to feel loved, valued, and respected. I don't think anybody wakes up in the morning hoping to be disrespected or hoping to be disvalued. No, I really believe that inside every one of us that we have a desire to feel love, to feel value, and to feel respect. And so today I'm going to give both men and women two ideas each. And obviously there's way more ideas than that, but I really believe that God spoke to my heart to share these two ideas today. And so guys, I want to give you two ideas that I think can help you earn and gain respect from your wife. And then ladies, I want to give you two ideas that I think can really help you show honor, show value, and show respect to your husband. So guys, let's start with you first. Two ideas that can help you earn and gain respect from your wife. And the first one is this. It's simple, but it's so important. And it's to love your wife. Love your wife. Man, if you're married, God placed that woman in your life. And you're to love that woman. You know, God gave us the example of what that love looks like. God sent his best. He sent his son, Jesus, to die on the cross, to give up his life for us, for the church. And that's the example that we're to have. We're to give up our life for our wife. You're to give up your life for your wife. And I believe that can happen in some practical ways and some ways that can be shown. The first way, I think it can be done verbally. Man, if you don't do this daily, then I encourage you to make that adjustment and to do this. And it's to let your wife know how much you love her by just expressing those words, I love you. And, you know, it's not something that's just done on your anniversary. It's not something that's just done monthly, but it's something that needs to be done daily to let her know that you're thinking about her, letting her know how much you love her. The other thing as part of that is to verbalize that love and to share that love, yes, but also to express that love through action. Man, I want my wife to sense, to feel, and to experience the love I have for her. Not just through my words, but through my actions. So guys, if you're not doing that, make that shift, make that adjustment to let your wife know how much you love her. Love your wife. Guys, the second thing that you can do to earn and gain respect from your wife is to communicate properly. Communicate properly. You know, I really believe that good communication promotes progress. And so that should be our goal, good communication. And we all know that it's not a mystery that women tend to, not all the time, but can tend to communicate more than us guys. But what we have to do, guys, is we have to understand that and know that and find ways to communicate to our wife properly about your day, about some things that you're feeling and going through, about some dreams and desires that you have for your future. So we have to communicate in the good times, but I want to focus on just a second on how you communicate to your wife, maybe in the midst of an argument. We all have disagreements with our spouses, but how you communicate in those times of argument really is either going to help you gain value and gain respect or not. Here's a good filter test for you to go through when in the middle of an argument. Here's a good filter test for you. Would you allow somebody else to speak to your wife the way that you are speaking to your wife right now? Would you allow it? Would it be acceptable with how you're speaking to your wife in the middle of that argument? Would that be acceptable if somebody else spoke to her in that same way? And hey, if the answer is no way, then you need to make an adjustment that in the middle of those arguments, that you are using your words to build up and to encourage and to bring health instead of bringing destruction. So find ways to do that. I think communication is huge, and we need to do a good job as men to communicate properly to our wives. So guys, 2 things for you to show love and express love to your wife. The second thing is to communicate properly. So ladies, we're going to jump over to you real quick, and I want to show you and give you 2 ways that you can help show value and show respect to your husband. The first way is this, is to celebrate and support his dreams. Celebrate his dreams. Celebrate and support his dreams. You know, I heard it said by one husband that receiving respect from his most intimate friend, his wife, reduces his fear of failure and reduces his feeling of being inadequate. Ladies, that's huge. I'm not sure if you know this or not, but all men, although we don't express it in the same ways, we all deal with a level of insecurity. And we need our wives, we need our spouse to come alongside of us, to support us, to celebrate us. And you have the ability as a wife to reduce your husband's fear of failure and the feeling of being inadequate. You have the power to reduce that in his life by just supporting his dreams, by supporting accomplishments that he's maybe accomplished at work or in life, from the big things, from mowing the yard to getting a promotion, that you have the ability to reduce his fear of failure and reduce his fear of feeling inadequate in his life. So the first thing that you can do is support his dreams, support his and celebrate his desires in his life. And the second one, I think, is huge. It's huge. And it's to celebrate your husband publicly. Celebrate your husband publicly. Hey, I'm a firm believer that we're to celebrate publicly and correct privately. And that goes for your husband. That goes for your children. I think for all of us, we should celebrate publicly and correct privately. You know, ladies, I think it's so important that you speak well of your husband. Around your girlfriends, around anybody that maybe you would be around, to speak well of your husband. Don't make him feel unnecessary. Don't make him feel inadequate, but to celebrate him and support him for who God placed in your life, your husband. The other thing that you can do is to celebrate him and support him in front of your kids. Whether you have biological children together or maybe a blended family. Do whatever you can to celebrate your husband publicly and encourage and maybe correct privately. So just 2 things for you ladies. Support his dreams, support his accomplishments, celebrate him, and celebrate him publicly in front of everybody that you can be in front of. And then the last thing I want to give you both men and both women, and I think it's huge. If you'll grab a hold of this next principle, I really believe that your marriage can go to the next level. And it's this, both for you guys and ladies, it's to pray for your spouse. Pray for your spouse. You know, a lot of times I have the opportunity to meet with couples that are maybe going through a hard time in their lives, and I'll ask them that question. When was the last time you prayed for your husband? When was the last time you prayed for your wife? And they'll ask them the question, when was the last time you prayed together? And unfortunately, a lot of times they don't remember. And I think before we complain about our spouse, we need to pray for our spouse. If you find yourself complaining to your parents or your friends or your coworkers about your spouse, I really would challenge you to turn that complaining into praying and watch what God will do. Hey, listen, God's in a restoration business. God is in the marriage building business. And God is also in building individuals. If we can build strong individuals, we'll build strong marriages. And not only will we build strong marriages, will build strong families. So I hope these things were an encouragement to you today, and that you can find something out of this talk to put action to and apply to your personal life, and apply to your marriage, and apply to your family. Thanks so much for joining us today.